Welcome, welcome, welcome. No?
Now on.
Here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey.
This is Goddess Talk with Balaji.
And
Tasha. And we have
special
special guest today, Miss Bianca Goolsby.
Hello, everyone. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
No worries. Just make sure you stay close to the mic. But we got a lot of things to talk about today. We have another special guest who will probably be calling in soon. She's calling in from the UK, from London town. Miss Fumi Dominic. I've known Fumi for a long time, but she has been spearheading a lot of natural hair stuff going on in the UK, because the UK is still really back, and they're like what we so circa 2012 or so here in America is where the UK's natural hair community is really at right now.
Oh, really?
So so she's been posting about natural hair. She really went through the whole process looking for products that work for her, and doing YouTube videos and showing some people, going to different events. So I hit her up, said, hey, do you want to talk about it and give people insight, because a lot of people, we're still very separated, UK from America.
Right.
So just giving her a platform so that we could all see that, hey, you know what, they struggling over there. Maybe we can help a little bit.
Right.
But love for me, she's going to be on later on when she gets a call, when she calls in. Because it's like 5 hours difference.
Oh,
so it's midnight over there.
Wow.
So if she hasn't fallen asleep,
that.
we go get her on. All right. But in the meantime, it's Bianca's time. So Bianca, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh man, I don't know where to start because I don't really talk about myself like that. I'm a very low-key person. I like to just stay to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a web developer by nature. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all about securing the bag and advocating for Black people particularly and students, because when I was growing up, I wish that I had an advocate to advocate for some of the issues that I was dealing with growing up. And so I went into the school system just because I moved here to Tampa. I'm not from Tampa. I'm actually originally from Atlanta.
Okay.
And A-Town. So I moved here to literally be here in this space where, me and my wife were, kind of joining union and getting serious. So I moved down here and I was like, I want to do something. I want to impact kids. I want to get into the field of teaching.
Okay.
So I did that. And since I did,
There she go.
there we go.
All right. This is Goddess Talk, who is on the line. Hey, Fumi. How you doing?
Hi, Queen.
Oh, good. Okay, Fumi, welcome to Goddess Talk. How's everything going on over there in the UK?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a bit late. But we're going to get right into it because we want to give you an opportunity to talk about who you are, what you do, but then also let you go back to sleep because it is late over there.
Yeah.
So, Fumi, just give us a little background about who you are and how you got into the whole natural hair conversation, really, okay? Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So with the UK, what has been the reception of the whole natural hair community? Because I know it's still, you guys are still a few years back from us when it comes to, the products, and you can't get a couple products over there as easily as we might get it from like a Sally's over here.
Right.
So what have you discovered has been an issue for you, maybe even in the workplace, when it comes to your natural hair? What's been an issue?
Well, I just didn't think about that.
How has it been? How has it been? Yeah, I've seen it. I love London. It's cool. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yes. Mm. Yes.
Okay.
Educating people. Okay. Mhm. Okay. To come out there. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
So, you guys make sure you follow natural_fun size on Instagram, Facebook. Well, just Instagram for the most part. And then you can find her on YouTube because she goes through a lot of different ways to style your hair. She's done a lot of, I remember one video I watched, I guess you were using, you made your own kind of paste to help with your hair. So she's done a couple different things. She's trialed and errored a couple different products.
Oh, okay.
So she's shown a lot of people over there, what they can use and how it probably could work with their own hairstyle. Because my hair, I just locked up about 2 years ago, and trust me, it was a process.
Right.
And so make sure you're following at Black Hair Goals UK. So this is a platform that educates, uplifts, and promotes Black sisters, brothers to embrace their natural beauty.
Okay.
So thank
Great.
you so much for tuning in, Fumi, and giving us a little bit of your time at 12 o'clock over there in the UK. All right.
Some rest.
But make sure you guys follow. We'll probably have you back on if there's any topic that you would like to talk about that's going on over there that you would like our brothers and sisters over here to know about. Because there is a
That'd be
disparity. There's a disparity between us over here and there because
Right.
some things go down over here, and my cousin was like, "Are you guys okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not over there." And so also the same because there's still a lot of racism going on over there in the
Oh
UK.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hear about that a lot.
You guys may not deal with a lot of guns, but you deal with a lot of knifing incidents over there, correct?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's dangerous on either side, but there's been a lot of people who are advocating, and Fumi is definitely all about pro-blackness from what I've seen, and we've talked about so many different things. So I would definitely like to have her. She decided to come over on this side of the pond.
Come on.
I'll have her on. Her sister gonna be here next. Her sister gets here on Friday, so she's gonna be chilling. Yeah, her nephew. So all right. But thanks so much, Fumi. I appreciate you. We'll link up some more, and I hope that you'll decide to travel down here and come on Goddess Talk soon. Okay. No problem.
You're welcome. Thank you, Queen.
All right, bye. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
I love her accent.
Yeah, oh God. I could just talk to me. But that was Fumi Dominic of Black Hair Goals UK, also known as Natural Fun Size _Fun Size on Instagram and YouTube. So definitely check her out. But we're gonna switch gears again, back to some more serious stuff. So back to Bianca. So give us a little bit more about your bio. From what you were saying, you do more tech. You were more into a technology-based education for children, but then you started advocating. You moved into that gear.
Yeah. So I was teaching business technology, and so I know how to code. And my whole ambition and goal was to teach students how to code, and that was kind of their way of learning how to make money online.
Yeah.
Well, my experience just was not positive at all. When I would ask questions about like why are some kids being treated this way, or why hasn't this incident been reported this way, I got a lot of like, you should be talking.
Oh wow.
Be
That's
quiet.
just the way it is.
Don't put things in writing. And I was trying to figure out like, well, why not you put it in writing? I don't understand why you don't put it in writing. Just document. I was taught to document. So for me to be told not to document and then bullied in retaliated against because I'm following procedure, I just couldn't. So I left.
That is heartbreaking on a standpoint as you were being an educator and a concerned educator for children. How did that make you feel?
So emotionally, I was torn because I would witness kids being bullied, and bullying is a really big topic that I like to talk about a lot because as a child I was bullied, and so I was bullied because the way that I talk, kids called me an Oreo, or because I'm plus size, they called me fat. It was always something that someone called me, right?
Okay.
So I could never be myself, and then I was battling sexuality on top of that. So it's just compounded trauma, Our students are experiencing the same thing, if not worse. And the thing is, it's worse because they have social media. Social media is one of those tools that is 24/7 and never stops. Where when I was bullied growing up, it was you saw the kids at school, they talked about you, go home, that's it. Now these kids are experiencing that 24/7 all day, every day.
Right.
And I just felt like bullying is not being addressed appropriately. Hillsborough County Public Schools only reported 355 incidents of bullying to the Florida Department of Education. And I question that because I'm just feeling like, with all the school shootings that's happening. I mean, if you guys check the news today, we had 3 incidents that involved guns with a potential school shooting. There was one school in St. Pete, with actually a church that actually got a bullet that was placed through the glass window, Allendale Church. And there was a bullet that actually went through the school.
Oh, wow.
And that was today. The other incident that happened today was at Burns. There was a girl that actually posted on Snapchat and said that she was going to shoot up the school. The next incident after that was in Pinellas County, and that was at Gibbs High School.
Right.
And that was just today in Tampa Bay. And so
only a week into the school year.
I mean,
right?
this is like the 3rd week in school.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like
Bianca, 813-444-9588. This is Goddess Talk. This is Balaji and Tasha and Bianca. So we'll be right back. What is going on with these Amber Alerts? What these Amber? We have another one. This is the same one.
It's the same one.
It's the same one. 10-year-old.
Oh, it was.
It's the same one.
Does it say what county?
It's. I can't look at it.
Clay County.
Yes, yeah, I got it.
What is Clay CO? Is that Clay County? Where's that at?
Yes, Clay County.
So Clay County is right near Duval County and Jacksonville.
Okay, it's up
So
north.
that's in Jacksonville.
That's the north, right? That's north. That
You
is
need
north.
SB.
This is crazy to me. It's only been a week for you guys. We haven't gone back to school up north yet. We go back to school after Labor Day. So I'm sitting here like, what? Because I saw everybody posting their kids back to school and all this stuff, and now you tell me, I'm like, wow, it's only been a week into school year. I thought y'all just went back last week.
I thought it was the 14th, but I could be wrong. See, my boys are grown.
So Pinellas started a couple days after. Hillsborough started on the 12th.
Okay, and I think it was about the 14th for Pinellas.
Okay.
I know it was what's this?
So it'll be 3 weeks of school on Monday for Hillsborough.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks. And they already
with these threats, you know what I mean? And we talking about, what we really talking about?
Nothing, obviously, because it's nothing happening. It's still going on.
It's still
I think
happening.
somebody posted about some kid. The cop
Yeah,
showed up
I
at his
know the
house.
St. Pete Police Department posted, and a lot of
Mhm.
parents was texting me because they thought my baby boy still went to Gibbs, and I was like, no.
Our guest last week,
yeah.
he's from Gibbs, and he,
so
yeah,
they
that's
were saying the
crazy.
parents said they didn't receive any information,
Of course they didn't.
and they had to see it on the St. Petersburg Police Department website.
Of course they did.
And I thought that was like
That's
very
So this
unprofessional.
happened during the day, and the parents didn't know this
The
happened.
parents didn't know. The
And of
parents
course the
found out.
kid.
The parents texted them. That's how the parents knew. Parents knew because the texting, like, they was like, this is what happened. The school never notified them.
But now think about this. You had just posted something I think last week talking about
Right.
kids shouldn't. Hey.
Hey.
Welcome back to Goddess Talk with Balaji.
And Tasha.
And our special guest today is Miss Bianca Goolsby. What's going on, Bianca?
What's going on? Thank you for having me again. I appreciate this.
No problem. Thanks for coming and spending
Thanks for
time with
coming
us. So before we went on commercial break, because we just started getting into some things, and then
Yeah,
we all
it's
got a
deep.
whole Amber
It's
Alert,
deep.
and we were talking about there's been 3 school shootings three incidences today, today in Florida, and you just go from there because that's just crazy.
All right, so I just want to clarify, just because I don't want any misconceptions.
Yeah,
there wasn't
right.
any actual shootings
Okay.
except for in Allendale, where there was a gun that was a bullet that was actually shot through the window at
Okay.
in one of the preschool areas.
Okay.
And so that happened at 4:18 today, and
Okay.
they're still checking that out
Mhm.
and checking the scene on that. The other 2 schools was Gibbs High School, that's in Pinellas County, and Burns Middle School, and that's in Hillsborough County. And
Mhm.
both of those students were arrested due to claims that they were going to shoot up the school.
So they were making threats
They were
online,
making threats online, that they were going to
Snapchat,
shoot
and
up the
everything
school.
else.
Yeah.
And the police. So you mentioned that the fact that the parents didn't even realize what was going on until they saw it on the news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was a lot of cases where, like for Gibbs High School in particular,
Mhm.
because I'm in a part of some of these groups that
Mhm.
circulate on Facebook
Yeah.
for like
Okay.
parent advocacy,
Mhm.
and there were some parents that were saying that they were not even notified that this was happening, that they actually found out on the news, and that other people was texting them, and their child was texting them. And I just feel like as a district, you have a duty to immediately contact parents and let parents know what's happening at the school.
Even when we had bomb threats back in the day, like what? The thing is frozen.
Yeah.
Even then when we had bomb threats, like it was crazy. Everybody evacuation.
Right.
They
Yeah.
either told the parents, but now you had mentioned something. I was just talking because I've seen some posts that you made online. But you were saying that when kids are in school, they should have the data off, and parents turn off the data.
Absolutely.
So now think about this:
Okay.
if my child was in school and they had to get in contact with me, and the data was off, how would I know?
Well,
Right.
well, if you text someone, you're using the cellular service and not the data.
So, but this
Okay.
is the issue. Some schools do have bad reception because that is a
Yeah,
thing.
I've
get it.
noticed that with
Yeah,
some of the high schools, definitely.
And then not just that, like I have iPhone, but I think I told you, like I can't get certain text messages from Android coming into my house at
Right,
all.
yeah.
And if my child, sometimes iPhone goes right through, but Android it might be a situation. But it's like now because of these 3 incidences and just other incidences that continue to happen, my child is being bullied or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not turning off that phone or TV for
Right.
nothing.
And I can
wouldn't either.
completely understand,
I
especially
definitely understand
now
that.
in this climate.
Yeah.
Now, the whole intention about turning the data off is that there are studies that show that children are distracted when they are in the learning environment.
Absolutely.
And so kids are more prone to check their phones instead of being more intentional with their learning.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the problem with that is that with these cell phones, they're doing damage to children.
Yeah.
To the point where, children are unable to write complete sentences,
Mhm.
they're unable to communicate properly, and that's because they've been doing what they've been doing on this phone. And they've been learning things from this phone.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so because of that, there has to be a middle ground that is between, having contact with parents on what's going on. Because I feel like if the school did what they were supposed to do, there would have been no need for, your child to text you about what happened when the school is proactively letting you know what
Yes.
happened,
Right.
So I feel like at some point, we got to come up with a solution. At some point, we have to figure out the cell phone, what we're going to do with the cell phone, and how we're going to deal with cell phones in class. And there are some
They shouldn't be in class at all.
I agree.
because-
the way it
but
goes now,
The way, this is the thing, because I grew up before there were cell phones
Better safe than
in the school.
sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not even going to argue that, because that's where I'm torn, because I just
Right.
mentioned that, hey, no, I'm not turning off the data. My child needs to have their phone so I can know. But then at the same
Right.
time, when we talk about learning, because I was a substitute teacher for about a year at
Okay.
one point, and I did that, we're talking about 2013, 14, right?
Okay.
And I was dealing with kindergartners,
Okay.
and already, like, they kind of had devices on them, okay?
Oh, really?
And so, but then I also substituted at other age levels, and you would see that they were basically teaching kids acronyms versus actual words, acronyms, like LOL, instead of just saying laughing out loud.
Oh.
Like, they're teaching this in the schools, okay? So I
Not
believe
good.
that there should be none of that, because text language is not what you should
It's
be
not
learning.
what,
That's not
kindergartner or
real.
anybody
That's not
should be learning.
exactly.
That's not real language.
So I've seen that situation. So I totally agree with you that number one, they probably shouldn't be in the schools, but then for safety reasons, I'm scared.
Right.
What do you
And that's
feel
a
about
big
that?
thing, because as you can see, our schools are definitely not safe.
Not equipped.
Not, and they're not equipped. So to me, the teachers used to say, okay, my youngest son had a cell phone, but it was always because he went to gifts, and so it was always an issue there with guns.
Mhm.
Students bringing guns on campus, or fights and so forth. So for safety reasons, I personally want the children to have cell phones. I don't want them to be on the phones
Mhm.
taking pictures
Mhm.
and selfies and all of that, but I do want them to have phones, definitely, because as you can see, like Bianca was saying, a parent shouldn't have to be texting another parent.
Absolutely.
It's the district's duty to notify parents when something goes wrong.
Absolutely. And there's sometimes where kids actually communicate with parents,
Yeah.
and they actually misinform parents of what's going on, because
Mhm.
they actually don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. So we
they heard
also
from this person.
are
that person.
and it's just, the district has a duty to provide clear communication on what's happening at the school site.
Mhm.
Period. And then there will be no misinformation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I can see that
Okay.
definitely, and that's a good point. And so, Bianca, I just want to ask you a question. So I know you were in the classroom, and I used to see your posts and everything, and you were definitely an advocate for the children. What was the breaking point? Where did it go left?
Where it went left was constantly being fired. Let me explain. Every day there was an incident that broke out at the school.
Okay.
What
Every
school
day.
were you at?
I was at Jennings Middle School,
Where's that?
and that's in Sefner. So
Okay.
basically,
Okay.
with desegregation, they decided to create all of these different schools and bus kids everywhere.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
they are
Yeah.
busing kids from East Tampa to Sefner,
Mm-hmm.
which is alienating them from their community. And
Mhm.
then, administration will then, blame parents for not being, present,
Mm.
but you alienated, them from the community.
It's
So
a distance.
what the problem was that I kept trying to make the school better.
Mhm.
And it was, I felt people in positions, leadership, that did not want to make it better. They was complicit in what it was.
Mm.
To the point where, and I've said this several times, and I don't say this to make this glorified, because this is traumatic for me.
Mhm.
Right.
But there was students that was pushed out the window. There was a child that I
Wow.
witnessed that actually cut themselves.
Mm.
There was children that literally just fought. I have all these videos on Instagram that kids are fighting each other.
Mhm.
They are upset. They are dealing with trauma that's
Mhm.
not being addressed.
Mhm.
They, can't go see a guidance counselor because the guidance counselor is pulling kids out of class for testing or fighting or
Yeah.
something. And students are not getting equity in education.
Mhm.
I had a 15-year-old in 6th grade, and for the life of me, no one
Wow.
could explain to me why this baby was in 6th grade.
Mhm.
And the baby was bullied so much that baby became a bully
Mm,
and became
right.
being a problem. And then you know what? They were trying to get that kid out of school,
Mm.
but y'all didn't do anything about the bullying. What was happening to him before he turned that way?
Yeah.
Wow.
Day after day after day, when you deal with
Yeah.
trauma, when you deal with kids suffering,
Mhm.
and you're trying to do everything that you can to help them,
That you can.
Right.
everything that you can, and then it be stuff that be beyond me.
Your control,
I can't do anything. So when kids would report I'm being bullied, they would come to me crying. I mean, that's a sensitive topic for me.
Yeah.
Bullying is a very sensitive topic for me.
Yeah.
And so when a child comes to me and say, Miss G, I'm being bullied, and then I report it, and then nothing happens, and that child is looking at you
Like, what did you do?
like, why you didn't do
Yeah.
anything? That is something that will crush you,
Yes.
Yeah,
because it's above you. You did everything that you can do, and then when you go ask questions, it's like you're a threat. Like, why are you asking questions? This ain't your pay grade. Like, I just don't understand
Okay.
why school is like this. And at that point, I just felt like, I was in this position to help children. I'm not in a position, like, I didn't go into teaching because I needed money to teach. I had my own thing before I got into teaching.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm not going to subject myself to that trauma. I can help kids in a different way.
Yeah.
And my advocacy work just like this. I seen the corruption at my school, and my intent was to fix the corruption at my school, and making sure that my kids at James Middle School never experience what they experienced the year prior.
Okay. And this is how Teaching for the Culture,
That's a
TFTC, was formed.
Correct.
And so when we come back from break, we're really going to get into it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's very heartbreaking
It
because
is.
I was bullied, and my bullying is from a different story perspective. Were you ever bullied, Tasha?
Yes, definitely.
You know,
in
and
school, and that's what
between-
made me how I am now because of the bullying.
Well, children are even being bullied at home.
yes. And things aren't happening at home to assist that because we just had a guest. I'll say it was maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Her name is Natasha Pierce. She is mental health advocate and also counselor and does a lot of things. And she was talking about the trauma because that is trauma. They are experiencing it
trauma.
day to day, night to night. They can't get any peace when they go home because that was always a safe haven. At least I'm done, like you said. I go home. But now you're dealing with that at home. You have parents who may be overworked who just like, I can't deal with it, whatever. Or parents may call, but then they call, then nothing happens because, and we're going to get into that some more because you had a parent on your show a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine, who was talking about her son being bullied, and she tried to email the school district, communicated, and was literally to the point that they blocked her. And she's not allowed on school premises. She literally is fighting with this now, and it's to this day. So we're going to talk about all that.
Okay.
But
wow.
let me tell you,
this is deep.
I'm so happy you're here.
It's deep.
But it's really deep because there's certain things I'm very passionate
It's
about because children. There's certain things I don't play with. I don't, because I was that kid. I'm sure, and you're talking about that, and that's why I do go as hard as we do now because I want them to see how beautiful they are, how glorious they are, what they mean to the future. I'm going to go back to Whitney. I believe children are the future. And we're going to talk about Coming to America where he did the little dance and everything. Hey, sex with chocolate. You know what I'm saying? But I want us to really talk about this because we were children at one point.
Absolutely.
And we remember what it was, how tough it was. And now we didn't have the internet
I was
back
the only
then.
girl, so it was real tough for me.
I was the oldest. And so that's probably why my brothers are real tough now because they had this tough sister. Look. And I was definitely going to come up there and roll up there if something happened to my little brothers and my sister.
I remember we talked about that.
Look, to this day, I said it before we got online, certain things cannot happen. But we're going to take a break. If you want to call in, 813-444-9588. This is In Touch News. God is Talk. We'll be right back.
Whew. Wow. So you learned a lot about the education system.
It's nuts.
Education system.
It's definitely here. I don't know.
It's nuts.
It's dissatisfying.
I've never seen
that's the nicest way to say it.
I just said
Dissatisfying.
just kids deserve better. Period. I'm not with all this talking. There was 3 incidents at Tampa Bay. I'm tired. I'm tired of doing all this talking. I'm tired of going to these town hall meetings and they not doing nothing. I'm tired of all
check
this
some of these
talking.
comments.
I'm sorry. I just can't.
Hey, OJ. Hey, Nitra.
Especially if they're not compromising or they're attacking your character, they're attacking you. I mean, instead of putting all of this energy into, sitting down and trying to figure out how do we work through this, they're attacking, which is definitely...
They're attacking people's more character versus the facts.
They're attacking, and so that right there in itself, when people start to attack and start to, try to bully and say things, and
Intimidation, all that.
that's when you know that they know that their stuff isn't together, and now they're being exposed. And so instead of saying, okay, we make mistakes, we know that we need to fix these things, let's listen to people, because the way we're doing things seems like it's not working. And it's sad. It's really sad that the education system is like this. But I went to a meeting over in St. Pete, and it was the pipeline to prison. And so as I sat there and listened to everything that they were talking about, and these people were actually suing the Pinellas County school system, school board, because since I want to say he said 68 or something, black children in the Pinellas County school system have been discriminated against. And so, and a lot of the kids have been, put out of schools for suspensions for petty stuff. If they go and complain and all of that. And so, that pipeline prison meeting was definitely something that opened up my eyes. Definitely.
Back. We on?
We back?
You even hear the music. Welcome back to Goddess Talk on In Touch News. This is Balaji.
And this is Tasha.
And our wonderful guest today is Miss Bianca Goolsby. What's up, Bianca?
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
I'm good. Like, you dropping some facts,
I know.
and I'm feeling triggered right here.
I'm
feeling
gonna
triggered.
leave here
I want
and
to say
shed
it.
a few tears. This
I feel like
got
going up to
deep
some
in
town
here.
hall
It
meeting.
definitely have, and I can see the passion, Bianca. Just you speaking on this topic and the concern that you have for these children. And like we talked before we came back, I just wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself taking this with the children? Because I know it's passionate for you, and I can see you doing big things for children. Do you have something that you're going to lay out, like a game plan for these kids? I know you're doing a lot. I see you doing a lot. And so if you want to talk about some things that you got going on, or some things that you're going to try to open up doors to make, things pan out a little bit better for the children, you want to talk about it?
Absolutely. So I created an organization. It's called Teaching for the Culture, and there's a like page and there's a Facebook group. So the like page is more about promoting and uplifting. This is more so for mental health, just talking about some issues that really impact education. Okay. The Facebook group is more about solutions, like how can we come up with solutions. It's more collaborative, where I'm inviting the community to come out and actually really talk about some things, but also come up with solutions. Because at some point we are tired of having the same town hall meetings that talk about the same thing with the same statistics over and over again with no tangible results. So what I'm creating is something where it's going to be a resource hub. Not only will I just do advocacy work, like for example, I have went out and got school supplies for like Jennings Middle School, for example. The same school that I left, I ended up with the community's help, and I thank the community for this. We actually raised $400, and then we actually donated notebooks for the school. We delivered a whole van full of thousands of notebooks because the principal had requested notebooks, right? So like advocacy work like that, making sure that schools have what they need. The next component of that is simply just educating parents on how to advocate for their child. When you have a child, you don't know what the policies are or how to read, and so the parents don't understand like what type of rules and formats that the school board has, and how you have to follow all these procedures in order to get stuff done. I want to cut the middleman. I just want to be able to be that resource to be like, all right, so you don't want to have your child to take the FSA, I got you. This is how the resources, so you do not have to have your child to take the FSA and then be penalized for a test that is systemically wrong in the first place. So stuff like that is what I'm creating.
So that's Teaching for the Culture, and that was formed, like you said, it's an organization especially that focus on cultural competency.
Absolutely.
So us knowing what benefits us, us knowing where we've been disparaged against, us knowing where certain rules and regulations are against us as a people. And so you are educating parents to advocate not just for their children, but for us as a people.
As a people, community.
All right. And so this is cultural competency for students, educators, parents, and community partners. Now, let's go further, because the reason that I even came in contact with you was because a friend of mine is going through this situation now with her child. So I want to give that a highlight because this one actually hit me personally. I was like, hold up,
Yeah.
Kayla, what? So a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine, Miss Alexander Gilmore, she was on your show.
Oh,
basically,
wow.
you have your
Okay.
own Facebook Live that you, I guess, did.
Mhm.
But basically, something happened at her school, her son's school. He's been bullied, and she was advocating for her child by contacting administrators, contacting teachers,
Yep.
trying to take it up the chain of command. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Right.
She,
Definitely.
followed up with emails, so she had documentation. She had a paper trail, so she had those receipts.
Okay.
And
Sure
she
did.
couldn't get anywhere to the point that then she started being bullied by the school's district.
Absolutely.
And superintendent, I believe, is the person that was really behind the bullying. But
the
that
area superintendent.
area. Okay, so this specific person for her son's school was the one who became to bully her.
Yep.
To the point that my friend, a mother, and let's not just forget it. This is a mother, a wife. So her and her husband. Okay, I want to always make sure that you guys understand. This is not somebody. Some people try to say, "Oh, she's low income." No.
Right,
She lives
right.
in a wonderful area.
Nope.
Okay.
Her husband and her are wonderful people.
Okay.
They are true parents. They're involved. They're all these things. So you cannot come here with that little BS story
Right.
about
because,
my
you know,
friend
they
or her
always try to
husband.
throw that up.
The
Yeah.
angry black woman.
Or the
Right.
angry black
Yes.
man either, because
Yeah.
that's another thing. They really try to paint her as that. She's like, hold up, I'm not a single mother either. Okay, I have a husband who is part of this, situation with us.
Right.
And to the point that they have now banned her from school premises,
Wait a
and
minute.
she has done nothing. She
Nothing.
never met a
Wait a
threat.
minute, banned?
She herself has been banned. Her-
So let me just tell you what this is.
Mm.
So
Really.
Area
It's weird.
3 superintendent, her name is Dr. Anna Brown. She procured and created this document, and she actually mailed the letter to Alex,
Mhm.
to her home.
Mm.
And it's a long letter, by the way, and anyone can get access to it because it's public record.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in this
So is
letter,
that before you go? Is that in Hillsborough County?
yes, it is
Okay.
in Hillsborough
This
County.
is in
Okay.
Tampa. This is New Tampa area.
Okay.
By the
Yep.
way.
So her son goes to Liberty Middle School, and it is a very nice school.
Okay.
They have a lot of resources there, and she lives in a very nice community.
Yes.
Okay.
So she was sending emails because Caleb, was getting bullied. They was calling him little black boy.
Mhm.
They were, kicking him. He was kicked in the stomach. He went to the clinic several times because of injuries that he suffered at school. And she reported it every single time. She followed the procedure, went on the district website, writing bullying,
Yep.
this is what happened, this, that, and the third. Well, I guess the principal at Liberty Middle didn't like her. There was an issue. So basically, the principal at the school kind of made it his business to kind of, be like the liaison between the teachers and then, her. And so her concern was, hey, what are my son's assignments? Because mind you, that there are some teachers out there that don't need to be in the profession of teaching. They
Right,
are so
and I've said
tired,
that before.
they are so
Yeah,
burnt
I've
out
said
that they don't
before.
even want to teach anymore. And these are the people
Right.
that have to go because they are the
Mhm.
ones that also are complicit in the inequities in
Education,
education.
yeah.
Okay.
So because of that, she was like, hey, I need to know what my son, assignment is. Like,
Yeah.
what grade, just regular, just trying to advocate, just trying to make sure that Caleb got the best education that he can get, right?
Right.
So, she received this letter that I was talking about earlier by Dr. Anna Brown. And basically, Dr. Anna Brown said that if you arrive at Liberty Middle School, I want to make this very perfectly clear that you will be removed from campus either from the Hillsborough County Resource Officer on site or the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
So that's a threat. I just want y'all to know that, okay? That's a threat.
Excuse me.
That's a
so
threat.
this parent never threatened, did any harm, nothing.
Forget
to
that part,
this
though.
Dr. Anna Brown.
But forget that part. This is because everybody always wants to say, "Oh, the parents aren't involved. The parents aren't this." This is a very
Right, this
involved.
is an
She's done the
involved
orchestra.
parent.
Alex posts her kids all the time. She
Yep.
is an involved parent.
Yep.
Caleb was in the orchestra or some field trip, or Bryce was, her other son. Like she is a very involved, and for her to be going through this is astounding to me.
That's
astounding.
deep. I
And it's sad.
never.
So what's the process?
that's
Where's she at
sad.
right now?
Where's
Because I know she
at
has you
this?
with her
Yeah,
advocating.
so right now, I'm trying to schedule a meeting with Dr. Anna Brown.
Okay.
I'm trying to get to the root of what was happening.
Mhm.
What, like, how can I help? How can I bridge this gap?
Right.
Do you feel threatened by, Alex? If so, like, talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to me, and let's talk about this, because I'm just trying to figure out why. I did a public records request. I'm still waiting on that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out why this happened. And so, to be honest, the district is so messed up that this is just a small, minute problem for them right now.
So you feel like this is going to get brushed under the covers?
So I really
Right.
think that, even as much as the pushing and all of that, that it's just going to be one of those things that just, but I'm going to keep going. Like, I'm going to keep talking about Caleb. I'm going to keep talking about Alex's story,
Right.
because this is not the only parent. I was told just at the board meeting on Tuesday that I was at when I spoke at the board meeting,
Okay.
that there were advocates that were actually receiving letters of a civility ban that was being delivered to their home by sheriffs.
Civility.
What?
ban.
Civility ban? Yes. And
So drop. Explain what a civility ban is, and
that
this is why
sounds kind of like
this is treacherous.
warrants or something.
This is treacherous.
Please explain that, Bianca.
So based on what was communicated to me,
Mhm.
is a civility ban is basically blocking someone because you feel like they would be a threat to the civility or to the organization, such as Hillsborough County Public Schools.
Okay, so now, but these people are labeled as advocates.
Yes.
This is not a group of fighters, or no. These are advocates,
These are
for,
advocates for
education,
education.
reform, or whatever, and they are receiving bans saying that they're basically a threat
Yeah.
to the county.
Advocates are considered a threat at the district. So, like, every time I go to the school board, there's like one school board member that just like looks at me in disgust, and I just can't wait until this board. I'll just hush on that.
So,
Bianca, have you
I have a
have you
question.
received, like, when you go to the school board meetings or anything out of the school board members, or have you been receiving positive feedback from any of them? Anybody?
I'm gonna give you my honest answer.
Okay.
My honest answer is that I've been to the school board meeting several times. I've spoke at the school board meeting several times. And each of the times that I spoke, I talked about different issues. I have yet to have a conversation with one school board member on the side to actually talk about the issue. And the only person that tried to somewhat talk to me and kind of did it in a way that I don't really appreciate was Tammy.
Okay.
And that is the board, because she pulled me aside at one of the panels and was like, hey, like, we really need to talk about this. I don't want to have a strategy, this, that, and the third.
Okay.
But the way that she posted on Facebook seems a different tune. And I'm not about all that Facebook rip rap and all that. I'm not all about
Making
that.
yourself look good on Facebook like you're doing something.
I just
they'll
can't.
do something else on social media.
I'm just not with that. At the end of the day, I'm fighting for kids. I'm fighting for equity and education. And if you are not on the same path, same wavelength, same energy that I'm on, then I don't need to meet with you. I don't. And so, in my opinion, I feel like, and I'll just talk about it honestly and be frank about it, because it's just no point at this point. But I feel like there are certain black people that are in position that are complicit to what is going on.
So
I was going to ask you
glad.
that question because I want to know
I'm
what
so
the
glad you're
demographic of
touching
the
on
school
that.
board looks
Oh
like.
my gosh,
Right.
there's only one black person on the school board.
Well, that's
Okay.
in Pinellas County. We only have one black school board person that's on our school board, and it's been like that. St. Petersburg, Florida, has never had a black mayor. Never. We've never had a black mayor, and we only have one school board person, and I believe her name is Renee Flowers, that is on our school board.
But to take it back to what you said, a lot of the people who are making or getting into those positions are complicit
Right.
with the rest of their board members
Right.
in subjugating us to the negativity of education.
Yeah. So, like, in my example,
I'm going to give you 2 seconds because we got our last break.
Okay.
All right?
Ooh.
This is our last break coming
Okay.
because Bianca's going to be back. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let y'all know.
Yeah, man,
So you can call Goddess
Definitely
Talk.
a good one.
You can call us up at 813-444-9588. This is In Touch News, Goddess Talk. We'll be right back. Bianca,
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna throw some
Wait,
that.
y'all.
wait,
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna throw some
Ruth.
that at you real
People
quick.
are getting banned from schools.
Yes.
This parent, I'm still stuck
No,
on
this is my friend.
So
we live in
what,
the same neighborhood.
What do they do? So they want the husband to come to the
No.
school?
They banned her, not her husband.
So if the
it's
husband can't get the son.
her
or
mom.
something
She has to
happened.
get her mom to come do this.
Her
how
mom.
How
Wait a minute, that's
disgusting
not
is
her
that?
mother's child.
That's not. But
And this
forget
is
about
all
this.
because
They
she
keep
wanted the
saying-
bullying and to report the bullying for her son.
They keep saying that parents aren't involved. That look at all these angry black parents and single mothers. That is not even the
That is
story
not the
whatsoever.
story.
I met Alex. Alex is a gym instructor. I met her at Crunch Fitness, okay? And we just clicked. And then it was just one day I pulled into my parking lot and she was there. I was like, oh, you live here? And we just, again, we're cool.
Wow.
I've seen her sons. They're beautiful, beautiful black babies, okay? Her husband is very involved father too. Her mother is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and Alex talked about this last year. That, Caleb was having some issues in school. That, she's been trying to email and stuff. But she was working through it. She was like, man, they don't want me to get like all these people because I actually am an involved parent. So when she brought this up this year, I was like, hold up, this is still going on?
I thought
And I don't live there anymore.
School,
I'm
you
on
would
the
have
way
had to
like
make a
3
physical
months ago.
threat or
No,
hit somebody
nothing,
or
nothing.
any. So
Nothing,
there's
Sasha.
nothing that nobody can
Nothing.
do. I know there's something somebody can do about this situation.
Unfortunately,
They're gaslighting her, number one.
unfortunately, they unless she go the
National,
lawyer,
yeah.
and that's the legal way.
But that's
She
money. You
gotta
see what
do-
I'm saying? Because now they're gonna
You
push you
can't-
to do some things, and the
If she has a
resources.
paper
It's a
trail-
waste. It's a waste of resources for her.
They don't care.
Because what will happen at the end of the day? You get fed up, and what will you do? You leave. You see what I'm saying?
So
That's
they
always the
actually
way
want-
they want you to leave.
But here's
Take-
the
take-
thing
take
that
it on
I'm
somewhere else.
concerned about. How are they going to treat Caleb?
Or her
That's-
son Bryce, because she had another child. So now this Bryce is a couple years out, but they've been treating him. He's still getting bullied, I believe. He's scared. He's scared.
That's the main
She
concern
posted
right
that
there.
he's had some anxiety.
Okay.
Hey y'all, this is Goddess Talk. This is Balaji,
Hey, y'all.
Tasha, and Bianca. What's up, Bianca?
What's up?
Yo,
Woo.
Bianca got me heated.
Yes.
I feel triggered. I'm remembering my childhood, and then I'm feeling all types of ways about, again, my friend Alex Gilmore, her son Bryce, and she has another son. I'm sorry, Caleb, and then she has the younger one, Bryce. But we're going through this thing with the
Wow.
school district. She's going through it with the school district. Her and her family are going through this. But Bianca, what I really want to stress, and I'm so excited that you're here, because a lot of people talk a big game, especially on social media. They try to
Right.
get followers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm at this, I'm at
Likes.
that. But that's why I said, like, I saw that you had a passion.
Right.
Because I don't bang with everybody. I don't. But I was like, all right, I see. And
Yeah.
I was like, let me hit you up, see if you could come up here real quick. 'cause
Yeah, I'm
really
about that
passionate.
life.
Oh, and I saw.
Yeah,
And
she's
the
definitely
stuff that you're
passionate
dropping
about
right
what she's
now,
doing.
you are about action. So let me know, because the way I roll, I don't play that.
Yeah.
And I really want you to understand that, I really appreciate what you're doing, especially for my friend. But then it's just like for other people, because you're
Right.
doing other stuff other than what you're doing for Alice. You're doing some other stuff for other people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are about action. So your teaching for the culture is not just words. You are action-based
action.
organization.
All action.
So drop the facts that you was about to drop before, because I'm sitting here
I
ready.
know,
like,
right?
What
I'm
else?
like,
What
oh,
else?
Lord.
All right, so before I do like the quick discipline data,
Mhm.
so I just want to talk about so we have people that are in position that are complicit,
Mhm.
and they talk this whole game on social media, and they do all this stuff,
You
and that's
do it.
fine. Listen, I don't have no beef with nobody. There's nothing
Right.
personal. At the end of the day, I'm fighting for our kids. I'm fighting for my babies. I'm fighting for everybody's child, because our children are not being served a disservice. The
Mhm.
system is broken. There's something wrong with the system, and there's people that are
Right.
complicit,
Mhm.
and there are people that are getting paid 6 figures to be complicit,
Mm.
and then will gaslight parents, and then will say, "Oh, well, parents ain't doing enough."
Mm.
Well, no, sis or sir,
Let's drop that sir too, or you,
or sir.
or whichever way you want to go.
You cannot continue to blame parents for the same system that failed them too.
Mm.
Right.
And
Right.
so the system is failing everyone.
Mhm.
So when we look at literacy rate, when we look at FSA, let's look at FSA.
What's the FSA,
Okay.
please?
So
Explain
FSA is
I'm-
the Florida Standard Assessment.
And that's why I said
Okay.
that, because I'm from Jersey, and so we have our own testing up there. So I was like, what is
Mhm.
FSA? I'm trying to. All these acronyms are coming at me, but FSA is the Florida Standardized Testing
Standard Assessment.
Assessment. Okay,
Okay.
keep going.
So I'm gonna look at 2 schools.
Mm,
They are in East Tampa.
mm,
The same communities that have been robbed for generation
Mm.
and generation after generation.
Gentrified.
James Elementary, only 9% of all the third graders on that campus pass the FSA. Let me say that
9?
again to make sure everyone understands. James Elementary, only 9% of all the third graders, those babies on campus, only 9% passed.
Those were 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and that's
9%.
9% of 100. So we had 100 students here. Only 9 of y'all passed, and 91 failed.
Yep. And so this test is also being used to, for promotion and all of that. So if you don't pass, there are certain steps that you have to meet in order to move forward to the 4th grade. So systemically, we look at some of these schools that have these low grades and have the low test data. We find out that they don't have any teachers, that they've been using Kelly Services and they've been using all these different resources to bring teachers into the school, which they're not actually teaching kids because that's not their job. Their job is to babysit, basically.
Right.
So you basically have people babysitting children and then holding them to the same expectation of everyone else of them learning. And that is counterproductive and that doesn't work.
Please stop there real
9%.
quick. I want you to stop there because I was always one of those people. I'm not a big math person, so let's just make sure. I'm just going to give you the simple math that I know. I'm spitting this back at you. Again, like I said, it's 100 students. 9 of them passed and 91 failed. Now, I was also one of those people like, well, that means that they must, they must not be smart children or this and this and that. Or what about the teachers? What about the teachers? But you just said something. They don't even have teachers qualified to teach these subjects that they are being tested on.
So the problem with the district is that the district wants to blame everybody but themselves. But hold on though, this is the part that I need everyone to listen. The school that I'm listening, James Elementary, I did it strategically because the district actually was sent to the school to help with the vacancies. Now, district leaders who are responsible for all the other teachers, this is how they perform. You cannot blame the teachers. You cannot blame who takes responsibility for this? Who? They're gonna try to blame the parents, but hold up! I'm telling my child to school to learn,
Right.
and you don't have a personnel in there who can teach them those things. So it's a lose-lose situation.
So Kelly Services.
I have. Okay, so this, what is that? That's an organization that sends substitute teachers, right? Okay, we had Source for Teachers back up north or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going with the facts, because that's one.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Mhm.
Then we got another school. It's Foster Elementary. Only 13% of those third grade babies pass the reading FSA. So we're talking about literacy, folks. In the state of Florida, 70% of all the third graders that tested in the state of Florida is not proficient in reading. Let me say that again. 70% of all the third grade babies that tested last school year was not proficient in reading. We have a literacy crisis. In our community, this is why mumble rap is so popular, because we're illiterate.
Oh, Bianca, you just
We're
dropped
becoming
something.
illiterate.
Oh, you just dropped it. Because I can't do it, and I have English is okay. So my family's Nigerian, and English is the British colonized Nigeria. So English is my first language, and I have other dialects that I'm very privy to. So when I'm hearing music, I'm like, what do they say?
Right.
Or enunciate,
And the kids know it.
What?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, but B, that's just us. That's just no. There is a dumbing down of our children.
Absolutely.
And then glorifying that, because guess what? Their children are going to excel and have opportunities.
Right.
Our children will not.
Yep.
Absolutely not. You cannot get into the workforce like that. You don't even know how to write a simple sentence.
Nope.
Let alone communicate effectively what your needs and wants are. Keep going, Bianca. I'm tired.
All right, so remember how I don't know if we were online or offline when you were talking about the ACLU,
What's that?
which is the prison to pop line.
The study.
So they did one, not just in Pinellas County, but they also did one in Hillsborough.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the black community only represents 21% of Hillsborough County public schools. Out of this data,
Out of the 21%.
Hillsborough County Public Schools leads with the highest number of students being cited by the police in the state. Hillsborough County Public Schools is the highest number of students arrested in the state. Hillsborough County Public Schools is one of only 9 using mechanical restraints for discipline. Now, this is the ACLU report. You can look it up. Listen, don't come at me with this. I'm just reporting the news. This is, go to ACLU Hillsborough. You'll find the report. It's right there. They sent this report to the superintendent and the board members on June 25th, 2019.
So the reason that last part hit me, my company in Jersey will work with people with developmental disabilities, and some of them have behavioral issues that require just restraints. And I was a trainer of crisis management, which is what we called it. We were calling them just, crisis management. So we could take you down if you need to. And whenever you have to apply a mechanical, that goes through different levels of authorization.
Right.
To the point that this is a state-approved restraint. So the state of Florida, I want to say that explicitly, the state of Florida is complicit in our children being mechanically restrained and being cited, and even being sent to prison. So then I want to talk about the prison system here in Florida now.
Well, the prisoner pipeline is very clear.
It's very
clear.
And the state is complicit.
It's definitely very clear.
It's very complicit.
I mean,
wow.
Let's just look at the discipline data real quick.
Okay.
So, remember, 21%. I'm going to go through this quick because I know our time is going short.
We are going to have to drop because it's about to be 57 and we get off at 57. So, Bianca, thank you so much for
Listen, I love
Bianca, I love you.
Please,
Bianca,
call me back. I gotta tell y'all this. It's
She's-
gotta be
no,
part
but
2.
not just that. We're going to continue this conversation online,
Yeah, we
on
gotta do a part
Facebook,
2.
and we will have a part 2. And if we have any guests who cancel on us, if we can bring you in to talk a little bit, we'll bring you on.
Okay.
We appreciate you so much. This is Goddess Talk. We're on In Touch News every Thursday at 7 p.m. This is why I wanted to have this show. This is why I was like, I had to have a show that is all about this. Thank you so much, Bianca.
Thank you.
You have been great.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thursday at 7 p.m. every week, except for holidays. We will be back on In Touch News, Black-owned radio station in Tampa, Florida. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Have a good evening.